we hired this chocolatier who was making chocolates and selling chocolates to Whole Foods, and we started making infused chocolates. We only do edibles. We kind of stay in our lane, and we want to do it the best. With edibles, our goal was simple: make edibles that not just have the effects, but also they taste good. When you eat food and when it's something that you love, you have this like bliss experience, right? So same thing with edibles. Like, I don't think it should be any different. You get this feedback that people are improving their lives. If something happens to this industry, the hardest part for me will be not being able to help people.
We have a good one today. We're going to shed some light on a local Texas business that is doing small batch craft edibles the right way. We're going to dive into how that company has started and grown over the past 5 years or so, with hemp being legal in Texas. We're going to talk about a wide range of other issues within this episode that you're going to want to hear. Today I have Rado Ivanov with me from TexaKana Organics. He is a co-founder of this amazing brand that is really taking edibles in Texas to the next level. And so we're going to kind of hear their story. So Rado, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, man.
We are so excited to unravel this.
Yes, and we've known each other for a while, but I guess this is the first time we kind of sit down and talk about how it all started and how we got here.
Yeah, I want a lot of the viewers to really understand who the actors are in this industry. That's the number one reason why this show exists. And of course, with all this bad press that we're getting right now and all this attacks that we're fighting right now and the bad legislation, I do want to highlight some of the positive. And that is people like you who do things the right way and have a lot of passion behind this and an interesting story. And so that's kind of what we're going to open with. So obviously, you're not from here. So when did you get here? Why did you come here? And how did that kind of start this whole journey? Because obviously they don't do this in Bulgaria, right? I mean,
not yet,
right?
Not yet. So yeah, it all started. I'm a first generation Texan, I guess.
Right on. Cheers.
Yeah. You know how they say, like, I wasn't born here, but I came as soon as I came.
I love that.
As I could. So I was born and raised in Europe throughout my, high school, college. I spent my days there. That's where my family is from. That's where I grew up. And then when I was in college, I had the opportunity of come to the States as a student, as a college student, and I kind of fell in love with the culture and what America has to offer, right? Which is a lot. Which you have all this different states. If you like a beach, you can live on the beach. If you like the mountains, you can live in the mountains, the desert, or whatever in the country, whatever you want to live, it's here, right? So I came in my early 20s. Right after I graduated, I came for a summer, 2 summers, and then after I got my degree, I moved here permanently. But yeah, it's an interesting story. So I come from a country that cannabis, it's to this day, it's illegal. So back in when I was younger, we used the plant to self-medicate and to enhance our lives in a way. Again, we have to hide. It was illegal, so we had to hide. And I remember to this day, like, it's hiding and kind of like the stigma behind the plant. And I was like, hoping or dreaming that one day it will be legal. You don't have to hide anymore. That it's something that people understand and use for the benefit of it, right?
So when you got here and you knew you were going to live here full time, obviously you started to have different jobs and everything, but what kind of led you to pursuing this industry as a career or as a business, like as an entrepreneur?
Well, so it took me a while to get here since I moved to the States permanently. But first, my idea was I'm gonna be a corporate accountant. That was my degree, and that's what I kind of did for years. I worked for different banks and different institutions, financial institutions. But then I realized one day that it's just not for me. It's not what I want to do. It's not. It's just not how I want to spend my life, basically. So what I did is I quit my job. one day. That was 2020, beginning of 2020, right after the holidays. I said, well, I'm done. I'm just gonna take like a sabbatical. I'm gonna take a few months and I'm gonna go back to Europe. I'm gonna travel and decide what I want to do. Right. So how what the world works and how fate works is COVID happened right at
Mhm.
that time. So I was stuck in Europe in the beginning of COVID. They closed down all the airports. The week after, I got diagnosed with COVID, which was one of the first cases in the country. And I was just, I was going through, I don't know, my sabbatical, stuck in a house with my family. Thank God, we had each other, but it was a weird situation. And I had a dog at the
Mhm.
time that here in Houston, Texas, and I had a friend of mine that stayed at my house just for my 2-3 months off. He was gonna stay at my house and kind of watch over him and to take care of him, take care of the house. Very good friend of mine. So Nick calls me one day and he's like, "Man, your dog is not good. He's not moving. He can't do anything. He doesn't eat. He doesn't drink water. Nothing." So he takes him to the vet. End up being a terminal disease, which we can't help, and there's no cure for it at this point. So what happens is, thank God they opened the airports by that time. So at least they opened the airports, and it was weird because it was like apocalypse on at the airport, man. It was like nobody. International Amsterdam International Airport, it's like no people.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's like a ghost town, like a zombie movie. So anyway, I take the first flight, and I came home, and we did a surgery for TJ. TJ, we had a surgery, and then after the surgery, they said, like, he's gonna have, like, a few weeks of life. Just make sure he's comfortable, make sure he's, do the best you can, right? Spend some time with him. So I started researching, and I've always been a fan of the plant, right? But at that time, I come to the CBD, right, and the healing properties of CBD and what can it do for his appetite, his kind of like well-being at the time, which is, we can do much, but we want to make sure, he's
Mhm.
comfortable, he doesn't have much pain. So we started a high dose CBD, some Chinese mushrooms, things like that. The supplements, they kind of help him. So instead of a few weeks, he did a few months.
Wow.
Yeah, a few months with us, and it was honestly everything I could hope for because we had the time to spend that time with
Right.
him right before he passed. With all that research, I started researching CBD, and that's where the Farm Bill 2019 came about. So we knew that that's a legal
Mhm.
industry in Texas, which little do we know, 5 years from then, we're gonna go backwards. But at the time, it was a legal industry. I did a lot of research, so I always wanted to start something. I wanted to build something.
Mhm.
Like I said, I didn't fit in the corporate life, but I know I wanted to build something. I wanted to do something on my own that to
Mhm.
prove to myself, hey, you can do this, or you can build something from the ground up. So that was always like an interest of mine, but I didn't know what, and that's why I took those 3-4 months off
Mhm.
to kind of figure out what I want to do, like what industry, what I wanted to build, right? So it kind of came to me instead of like me kind of
Right.
deciding what that is. It kind of came to me. Our first product, of course, it was a pet tincture,
Pet based. Yeah.
which was based on what how we started and
Right.
what led us to that point. But created this pet tincture. I remember it was CBD and CBG full spectrum tincture, so it has a little bit of THC. Which the funny part is now that tincture is going to be
For your
illegal
dog.
to make. Yeah,
Yeah.
for your dog, basically. Your dog will be
Your
a
your
criminal in the
dog
state of
should go to
Texas.
dog prison
Yes.
for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Um,
So TJ Coleman, like, basically is the catalyst that while you're having this, like, downtime and sabbatical from working in corporate really shows you, like, this could be something I could get behind and build around.
right.
Right.
So basically, after we created that tincture, we said like, okay, so we want to help pets, but also people.
Yeah.
We in those times in the COVID era, if you remember, everybody was stressed out. Everybody was at home. It was a time that we said, well, let's create products for people too, right? For them to relax, or a supplement for them to kind of like put them at ease a little bit.
Yeah.
with the world and what's going on at that time. And we also saw that this industry is kind of like not even recession proof, but it's like if you have some kind of world situation, it's still like the cannabis industry was going up; it was not going down. A lot of the
Absolutely,
industries
dude.
like were kind of falling at the time,
Yeah,
and that because a lot of people were at home, right, working from home, and using supplements to help cope.
absolutely. So you started helping people. We started to see Texarkana pop on shelves very, very fast, at least in the Houston market. And I remember I went to places that were very like upscale or trendy, popular, or known for just being a very good resource for these types of products. And they were all carrying Texarkana. So this is kind of like local takeover of Texarkana started to happen. And I saw that the popularity and demand for the brand was rising rapidly. And that the way that you guys had basically designed the brand and then chosen the way you chose the packaging for the gummies to the chocolates to everything was premier, a little bit more elevated than just a Mylar baggie or,
Right.
something that was standard. And I could tell that that was kinda catching on. People really liked having that little bit of elevated experience around the local brand. And so I had to reach out, obviously, and see what was up and get involved because there wasn't a lot of brands coming on the scene at that point that really had it all. Like the branding was good, but plus behind the curtain, you're good people. You are like you care about the products, you care about what goes into it because of the ingredients, because of the people who make it. Everything that y'all have done to create this company was very strategic and intentional from what I understand, down to and including Nick for building that badass website with
Yes.
probably one of the most extreme conversion rates I've ever seen still to this day in all my experience on any e-commerce and website builds that I've ever done. That thing is a monster, and people love that website. It's very easy to use, and the whole experience is just elevated. Everything there's not anything about Texarkana I don't think that misses the mark. And so then you start helping people, and the popularity explodes, and now we have all these other innovative products like some of these right here, which I feel like it's now time to cheers or something
Well, I already
for some
started,
of
but
these,
let's
so
yeah,
that's
let's
okay, like, we can get a cheers because the Canatail came out in a time when seltzer and beverage hold on, I gotta shake
shake and pop.
and pop, gotta shake it up,
It
get all the
says
good
right here on the
stuff,
side, shake and pop.
and you might see me drink this whole thing, it is 25 milligrams, but that's for me, may not be for everyone, so don't watch us drink these whole things and think that you can do it too. Let's start low, go slow, that's the kind of thing. Well, I don't know if I can really reach you, but
That's okay.
cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to Texarkana, man. They
You're
pop
right.
up in beverage land with
Mhm.
all these seltzers, and everybody's figuring out how to do seltzers. And you guys, I think, simplified. You're like, hey, let's do something
Juice
that's a
based.
juice base. And that's also kind of a popular thing that wasn't the crossover between like the pressed juices and fresh juices land hasn't crossed
Mhm.
over so much to the THC and infusion land.
Right.
And so it like ushered that right in too and found its own way to the refrigerator and all the dispensaries
Right.
because it was just different and the experience was different. You can kind of even make it your own. So,
True, that's true. So like back to what you said, yes, everything was very intentional with us. We and when I say we're really a family owned business, you know that.
yep.
Me and my wife, we started this. Then my brother, who is my brother, we have different parents, but he's still my brother. We started this company 2020 and we did everything intentionally.
Mhm.
We knew who we wanted to be. First of all, we named the brand Texacana just because we wanted to be a local brand, kind of like your local craft brewery
Yeah.
or a place that we never wanted to be a huge nationwide brand. Well, now we might have to, but
Well, it
that's a
is
different subject
actually.
we're gonna get
That's what's
into.
funny. It is a nationwide
Uh,
brand technically,
right.
even at this point. But
Yes, but the idea was to start and be a local craft batch edibles and drinks. And we did everything with intention. Like you said, the packaging, the ingredients that we use. We hired this chocolatier who was making chocolates and selling chocolates to Whole Foods. And we started making infused chocolates
Yep.
and the space cakes, the brownies, which are, one of our best selling products. We
like
have, and like
the
you
best
said, like companies from North Carolina, Georgia, and all over the states are now ordering those brownies from us,
Absolutely.
just because of the craft that we put into the product.
There's nothing else like it.
Right,
Everything
and there's
else
nothing
has
else
cheap
like it.
ingredients, preservatives,
Right,
shelf life of 45 years,
right. Yeah,
you
no,
know?
we don't have
We
shelf
don't
life of
yeah.
45 years.
Don't do that.
Also, the juices, they're
Fresh,
they're
yeah.
juice based, so they're
Mhm.
not. Yeah, they don't. We don't do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, we started, like I said, with the chocolatier. We made products with, he basically crafted those products for us, specifically for us. To this day, we're still working with him and making chocolate products.
And he is a lot of fun.
And yeah,
Dude, he's
Tony
a
is a lot of
riot in there.
fun.
He's a
Yeah.
wealth of knowledge, just
Yes.
and crazy experiences, worldly experiences,
Yes,
you know?
yes, yes.
So
He's also, and this is the thing about us and Houston in general, because we talk about Houston, like right where we started, how we grew.
mhm.
And what I love about Houston is it's a very international, melting pot of
Yes.
different backgrounds: South American, European, African, Asian, big Asian community. We kind of like melted into, like, we're, most of us, like say, first generation
Yep.
Americans or Texans. We kind of like, yeah, melted everything together. We started going to local stores, and we always wanted to be a high end brand. We
Mhm.
never wanted to be the cheap brand that sells on gas stations or
Right.
convenience stores. We never done that,
I
and
only
never
saw
will.
you at premier
Right.
retailers.
Again, from day one, we decided who we want to be, and how we're gonna go by doing things. So that kind of paid off for us, I think. And we kind of grew from a couple of stores to hundreds of
Yeah,
stores in Texas. Just in Houston, it's probably hundreds of stores.
absolutely.
Austin, Dallas, and then, like I said, now even out of state.
It's just a different experience all the way around for products from Texarkana, especially my experience as a consumer with the ingredients and the way that the chocolatier and the baker, they make these things small batch and they're made to be consumed. They're not made to sit on your shelf and not sell. They're made for people to eat it, love it, and keep buying it
Correct.
repetitively, which is good for you as a retailer. But then in that, when it goes to the consumer, the experience is amazing. You're tasting real quality chocolate and cocoa. You're tasting real butter, eggs, like all these high quality ingredients that we use.
Almond flour
Almond
in the
flour,
brownies, yeah.
amazing. So it opens also to the gluten-free folks and
Right,
all kinds of other different people that maybe some of these regular brownies that are mass produced don't have because they can't take that into consideration at scale. And
right.
that's like brings me to this craft cannabis thing and craft edible thing, which is what I think allowed you guys to spread so fast was because once you tried it, you can tell that this is a different experience than what I've had in commercial cannabis or commercial hemp consumables. You even go to like
Campus
another
cannabis, so yes.
right, right, and if you go to, other rec and medical states, you buy edibles, I mean, sometimes they're preservatives, they're
Right,
old stale, like,
right, right.
lackluster, or they taste like the plant, you know? It's like, I'm not
Mhm.
enjoying myself eating this as much as I'm, like, trying to just shove it down for the dose and the effects. The whole experience is different with Texarkana, and so the craft cannabis really I think is what the biggest differentiator is. And that's kind of what I wanted to ask you was like, what do you think led you guys to committing all into the craft, small batch, care about the consumer and the ingredients
Right.
over the mass production
Well,
side?
honestly, it's pretty simple. Like, we do edibles. Like, we don't,
Right.
we don't do smokables. We don't do flower vapes. We only do edibles. We kind of stay in our lane. We concentrate on one thing, and we want to do it the best. With edibles, you're eating the product. It's something that you eat, you consume. So our goal was simple: like, make edibles that not just have the effects and hit, but also they taste good, because it's an experience. Like, whatever you eat, it's an experience, like
Mhm.
your senses, like your smell, your taste. When you eat food and when it's something that you love, you have that, I don't know, this like bliss experience, right? So same thing with edibles. Like I don't think it should be any different. You should have the effect, but also with the taste, with the freshness, with like you want to enjoy the process, kind of like when you
Yeah.
roll a joint, right? You have your
You have your routine.
you have
You
your
have everything.
routine, you
It's
have
a
your your setting, your tray, whatever, and it's you like the whole experience. You don't just like the smoking part. You just like the whole experience of setting things up, rolling. So that's it. It's the experience. Like we want to make sure that people have a good experience, not just after they consume it, but while they're consuming it, while they're eating it
that must
or
be
drinking it.
that's gotta be some of that European culture. I think, in America, everything's so mass produced and high speed, and, like, we are just used to, like, the mass produced candies and cookies and stuff that's just it's not so much about slowing down and enjoying the experience. So, I don't know that, like, without the same like, if I was in your shoes,
Hmm.
I don't know that I would've done that. I don't know that I would've been caring
Right,
as much. I would've
right,
been more on, like, how much of this can we do,
right.
which leads you to that whole that's a whole snowball,
It
which,
is.
like, because it had an effect on me experiencing your products this is a craft chocolate. This is a craft batch brownie. It's the consistency, the taste, the flavor, the effects. It all was a great experience. It makes me want to do it again. And then next time add it to ice cream or next time share it with friends. And like it really is just like slow down and enjoy the consumption of it. And in that, obviously I know there's a kitchen involved. So I do want to talk about because right now there's a huge push that we are wild west, unregulated, out of control poison mongers
Right.
that sling poisonous and bad things to
We're
children
evil.
and
That's what
adults.
that's what Dan Patrick said. We're
Right,
evil
right.
people.
We're evil people. We don't care about you. So I want to highlight like how extensive is it to actually get licensed in this industry, do things the absolute right way, go through all the real regulation that does exist. Because I remember you talking about getting your fingerprints done, getting a background check, qualifying for different things. You have testing that you have to uphold to. You have a kitchen license. Is that not?
Right.
Is that correct? A
Food registration. Yes, sir.
food registration. So not only that, like that's a lot of certifications. That's more than some restaurants and bars that are serving you things every day have to get. So I do want to talk about that. What was your experience when you were getting into this, doing food, but now infused food? Were there any kind of obstacles or anything crazy that deterred you, or like what were the details? That's what I do want everyone to know before we get
Right.
off on that. Like, what are the details to kind of settle a lot of the noise out there? If I
Yeah.
have an edible company, what am I actually uphold to doing by the government?
Right. So, well, first of all, yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to me that what's happening right now, and we're not here to talk about it, but we do have to mention what's about to happen
Mhm.
if the governor signs this bill
Totally.
SB3 into law. Politicians are claiming is that we're evil people, that we sell poison, that we target kids. This is my face. I'm the evil person that is trying to poison your kids and
Yeah.
sell poison, and that we're unregulated, which is a total lie. It's a total lie. First of all, when we started this company, we applied for a license. We cannot do anything without a
Yeah, that's step
license.
1 for
So
sure.
step one, we got a license through the DSHS, which is the Department of State and Health Services. We had a license since 2020, so that's 5 years now. In order to get that license, we had to go to a FBI background check. We have to do fingerprints. We had to do an application, of course, with all our information that they have. They also have regulations. It's we're not unregulated.
Absolutely.
That's the
It's
total misconception of this whole. We are regulated. We have regulations as far as packaging. We have to get a food registration, like we mentioned. For our kitchen, we gotta be registered with the Department of State and Health Services. They do inspections,
Mhm.
and that's another thing that people don't. We have some of the retail stores. They've been inspected more than once, like 2 or 3 times
Yep.
now. The whole notion that we're not regulated and we sell poison. Who sells poison? Like, what kind of business model is selling poison? If I sell poison, do I have customers? No,
No.
no.
Right.
My business model, and I think everybody is in this industry to have a business, a legitimate business, is to make a product that people like, and they tell their friends or family, and they buy it, and they come back and
Keep
buy it
coming back.
again, and even put a Google review for us, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what every business does. So why would I want to sell poison? Why would I want to poison people? Like how does that help me? I don't get it.
Yeah, so there's a ton of hoops you had to join or jump through just to get to operate for the last 5 years, let's say, since hemp has been legal. There's been a ton of hoops you have to jump through.
Yes, we had to.
Also, one thing you didn't mention that I wanna mention that the politicians I don't even think they know this, but there are things that us hemp or cannabis operators can say, do, or not do on our packaging, on our marketing, that the FDA can literally find and send you a letter of being saying warning, hey, don't say that. And then if you keep doing it, they can literally shut you down.
Yeah.
Literally. Now, this is not an FDA regulated or approved product, but the FDA can literally come after you and have you shut down if you literally act
And they
outside.
have.
And they have. There's a record of this. There's actually a person. Gosh, I wish I remember his name and I can give him a shout out. I'm gonna link it because there's a person who goes his whole job is to consult people on this, and he goes over all these FDA warning letters, and then he shares them, and so that way we don't make the same mistakes as the unfortunate others that have been victimized, but that's an absolute possibility. So again, selling poison, right? So you would think
Right.
that if there's all these reports or all these brands that are selling poison, and they're getting turned in, that some government entity would be coming after these people like
Right.
crazy,
Right.
or
There should be lawsuits.
there should be lawsuits. There should be literally so much more than what's happening. And
Right.
and that's what's insane to me is how far you've had to go for TexaKana to even just get here and then them throw all that when, like, if anything, it's cannabis and hemp and cannabinoid in general is the most scrutinized thing, whether it's unregulated or regulated or whatever, like, is highly scrutinized. People are watching. The other interesting thing to think is now your fingerprints and information, everything's in a database.
Mhm.
So you're basically on record saying, hey, on September 1, I have all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So when it's illegal, here I am.
Yeah.
And that to me, again, this is all going to be an attorney's wet dream eventually. But like to me, that's duress and entrapment where like basically they're like doing a little like whoop, we'll switch this and now you're a criminal and we gotcha and like all this stuff.
It's a
So
propaganda, just
it,
like the 60s, the reefer madness and all that. It's same thing.
it's insane.
They're trying to say they would target kids. Like, why would I target? Like, I'm a dad. Like,
So
why would I target kids?
let's talk about something that's absolutely not poison. It is actually good for you.
Okay.
It's an innovation that has just come on the scene. It is the TexaKana strain specific herbal tonic. And a lot of people are interested in this and our loyal members, shout out to the loyal members on TexaKanaOrganics.com, have tried this experimental product that we threw out there on the website and they're loving it. I'm loving it. I have 2 bottles of this in my fridge. It is a drink your herbs is the motto, right? And it's an herbal tonic. It brings herbs and things that you need that is kind of a wellness shot type of an aspect, and it puts it in a great consumable that's also infused with cannabinoids to also add some effects and
Some
benefits.
secret ingredients.
And there's so much that you can do with the herbal tonic, like adding the bubbles on top or mixing it with juices or just shooting it like a shot before or after workout, morning, noon, night, whatever. It's so just applicable to like your lifestyle. You can fit it in. Similar to a liquor, it's not a liquor, it's not a
Right.
replacement.
It could be though.
It could be a replacement, but it's just one of those things where, like, if you want to move from one vice to something better for you, it gives you that like initial push and can suit any life or routine that you may have. So if you're one of those kick back and sit by the pool, it fits. If you're a go getter and you need something for after the gym, it fits. So I love the herbal tonic. I did want to talk about that because we are seeing beverage come out, and you guys did something different with Texacana beverage than seltzer. And so
Right.
now we're innovating again. We're seeing all these liquor competitors come out where there's, like some sort of a infuser in a liquor bottle or something. And now we kind of have this rolling out from Texacana. So what's the like mastermind behind the Herbal Tonic? Where did that come from?
Sure. So going back to the intention, and like I said, we do everything intentionally, but we also are trying to do things differently too. Just like you said with our cocktails, with our drinks, what we did is everybody was coming up with a seltzer, which was the easy thing to do. Like any brewery, pretty much can make you a seltzer. It's
Mhm.
like easier than for them to do a.
I
Uh,
think at this point, it's easier to get a seltzer started than any other product probably
true,
in the
true.
industry. Dead serious. And it's the crazy, but there's already infrastructure. You don't have to be like a candy maker or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yes, we wanted to do something differently. And with all our products, we try to, do something better or different that maybe different set of people would like than your average Joe.
Mhm.
So what we did is with the herbal tonic, we wanted to create a drink because one, drinks are social. They're
Yeah.
socially accepted, right? Everybody, and I don't drink alcohol myself, but a lot of people do, right? And I don't judge. Everybody has the choice. Everybody has the freedom to make a choice. So far,
So far.
for the next three
We'll
months at
see.
least, everybody has a choice to make. And what we did is we wanted to do something that is, like you said, for
Yep.
wellness, for a alcohol replacement, and it can be consumed in different settings, right? So what we did is we added actual herbs. We found this farm, they grow organic herbs. So we partner with them and we're getting organic herb syrups and organic herbs that we add to our active ingredients, which is THC. We also add terpenes, strain specific terpenes. So we trying to add, and this is how our company was founded, is we try to combine the science with nature.
Yeah.
If we combine science with nature, I think
Right,
the
and the strain specific and the terpenes help the effects that you're getting. Like
exactly,
if you're used to a
exactly,
certain style or strain of hemp or cannabis, you can
right,
try to find something or mold something that's right for you too with the drink.
right.
Yeah.
So basically, how what the level of science that we have now is you can have nano-emulsified THC or CBD or cannabinoids,
Right.
but you also can have terpenes, which is the part of the plant that gives the aroma and does help with the effects. So what we did is we can source a terpene that is a specific strain of cannabis, the terpene, and we can add that to the mix to create whatever feeling or whatever result you get from smoking
Right.
cannabis. When you combine all these things, like I said, the THC, the terpenes, the herbs, we use like sage, peppermint, spearmint, and different herbs into the mix. So you get like a wellness shot, basically. Um, a wellness shot that you can mix with your smoothie. You can just shoot it straight. You can mix it with club soda or Topo Chico. You can make different, you know, cocktails or different drinks with whatever. You can mix it with anything you like, and you do.
I sure do.
So yeah, it's a product
Yeah.
that we're very excited about, and that we want to see, how it's gonna be accepted.
Mhm. I mean, I think it's
Um,
well received already. I think it's the review like immediately when we put it out, members purchased it
right,
and they also gave reviews
right,
about how great it
right.
was, when they
The
like how
flavor,
applicable it was, the flavor. It's interesting though that you'll put organic herbs in something that's poisonous.
right,
Why would you care so much about what herbs
right.
go in there
I
if
mix
it's
my
just
poison
poison?
with some organic herbs,
And why would people write good reviews about something that's poison?
right? Yeah, man, it's
All in all, the vibe here is wellness, and it seems though, what is highlighted here by talking to you and other actors that are great actors in this industry, is that there's obviously a choice for consumers to make always until they
right,
take it away from us. But there's a choice. There's brands that go the extra mile. They go and source from local farms organic herbs to put in their products. They go and they use things like almond flour so that or gluten intolerant folks can enjoy
a
the
brownie,
same products and experience. Yeah. And so that shows right there the level of care. Not to mention the amount of legal hoops that you did go through, and licensing and regulation that is happening every day in the operation of your business, should really prove to people. I think that this narrative that has been pushed on us, especially in Texas, cannabis as a whole, is not accurate from that side, and so it's important to highlight people and brands and businesses like yours. And I love that you're still innovating in this highly regulated industry, and this industry with such a stigma behind it. Still innovating products that fit people's lifestyle for wellness, where science and nature
Combine.
can come together harmoniously without a large laboratory and all kinds of crazy things, and what do they call it? Conversions or synthesis
You're
or
right.
whatever they're gonna throw on it. It's a natural thing, and it's helped a lot of people. Going from starting this business, having all the experience personally to starting this business, to expanding this business, and now having it under attack. What do you hear from people that have experiences with one product or another? What is the feedback like from our members and our loyal customers? Because I think that's also something that people need to hear from the operator that operates the business. You run the kitchen, you decide the SKUs and the products and the branding and everything. So what do you hear when people reach out to you to talk about their experience with the products?
Honestly, and this is the hardest part. Like I'm being dead honest. I mean, it's the hardest part because like when we started, again, I wanted to build something, I wanted to do something, but I never knew what or how or so I kind of was figuring stuff out, right?
For sure.
But then came a point which was I think of like a eureka moment for me. We had this emails and from customers, right? I still remember a couple of them that kind of like set me back like tremendously. There was this lady that emailed us. She said, "A lot of times I think about taking my life, but your products help me cope." And I would never forget that. I
Yeah,
get like goosebumps
that's
just
heavy.
talking about it. It's heavy, and I just froze. I didn't know what to. I was looking at the email, reading the email, and I just froze. I was in shock. I called my brother. I talked to my wife. I showed her. We talked to the people that work with us, and it was just like, what I say, what I do. So that's the hardest part. Like once you're in this industry, at least that's my experience, right? I can talk about my experience. You get this feedback that people are improving their lives. People are going through like trauma. I'm talking about like
Mhm,
deep trauma. If it's PTSD um or pain or sleep or we also have a lot of veterans that they use our products. A lot of seniors. I mean, this is the thing. Like our company, literally, like we did. And another thing we do is, and you know this, we do surveys.
mhm,
If we decide on a new product or a new flavor, we ask our people. We say, "Hey, this is our options. What we can make. Which one do you choose? Which one do you like?" And whoever whichever flavor gets the most votes, that's what we do. That's how we create products. Like
mhm,
you're giving me all the credit for creating the products, but honestly, we actually, the credit goes back to the people because our community, they decide what flavor that we're going to bring or
yeah,
what product we're going to bring. The hardest part is if something happens to this industry in the state of Texas. The hardest part for me will be not being able to help people. Like there's and that going back to those emails, that other email that I remember, it was like people going through again through epilepsy and
mhm,
Alzheimer's and things like that. That you know, I know that there's a lot of medicine for it, and some work, some don't. But me creating a product, like me starting a company and creating a product and getting an email that says like, "Hey, your product helped me live. Like, your product is helping me sleep. Your product is helping me, not be in pain and move around." Like, and we did also. We're an edible company, but we did a lotion too.
mhm. Yeah, people love this.
just because people wanted it. People say, "Hey, I want something that for my arthritis or for something for my muscles when I go work out." It's I mean, honestly, we that's why we do it. And I had this moment, like I said, when I got that email, and we sent her like a huge package of things, and trying to tell her, cheer her up a little bit, and just say, hey,
Mhm.
this life is worth living, right? But getting those emails, it kind of gave me a purpose.
Yeah,
Like literally, like I know I had something building, but I didn't know what I want to do, what I want to be, who I want to be, how do I fit in society, how do I be successful, right? What's my legacy?
mhm,
So I've always had these questions in my head, even though I work for different companies and I try to trying to be successful in my own way. But this emails was the breaking point of I said, okay, well, this is my purpose. I want to help people. Of course, you got to make it a profitable business to do that, to
right.
stay in business so you can help people. But that's how I help people.
Yeah,
That's my purpose.
yeah. That's huge and heavy, but
Right. So
but
to
in a
answer
good
your
way.
question, short answer,
Was a great answer.
it's the people.
Yeah,
That's going to be the hardest part.
yeah. We even have folks like what's crazy to highlight about you too is the care because I've seen things come through social media or the website of people who have purchased from us, and they're, like, in a spot or they literally can't leave where they are to get stuff or whatever, and they'll just ask, like, "Can we
Yeah.
help out?" And we
Yeah.
do. Because
Yes. And
oftentimes these people have purchased a few times before, or they genuinely need our product, and it's the least that we could do. Because it's not about, "Oh, well, I need that $20 from you for
right.
this drink."
Yeah.
It's like, no, like, okay, if you really need it that bad and you're
Yes.
coming to us, like, we
Yes.
obviously wanna help you, and we know who's coming to us that's genuine and who's just, like, grifting
Right.
for
Right.
product,
Still,
we
even if that's the case, if they ask,
right,
I would
again.
absolutely give them
Yeah. Here's
products.
something, tell 3 friends, please, and support small local businesses
Yes.
that care like this and help Texans heal. I mean, just have overall better wellness and then the freedoms like you were talking about. Like, yes, there's all kinds of different avenues for health and wellness or for
Right.
Alzheimer's or for whatever ailment you're dealing with and disease or whatever. But you should have the freedoms, the options,
The
the personal
options,
liberty
exactly.
to make that
And
choice,
that's why I came to America, right? It's for the
right?
freedom. Yeah, it's the land of the free. So we should be able to help people, feed our families,
Absolutely.
and create something that
And what's crazy is with this all happening now, most people are realizing like it isn't hemp. It's a lot of our rights and freedoms that are being undercut right now.
right,
And this is just one of them. But
right,
I think everybody can agree, no matter how you feel or how you view the world, that if something is there and it's not bothering anyone, it's only helping people. You can choose to use it or not. It's just a simple freedom, just like people make for tobacco and alcohol and anything.
exactly.
It's just but we're not getting that same treatment here. And so it's just interesting times. How do you this is also another thing I want to kind of end with. Like, what's on the radar for Texarkana? Because I know there's a lot of uncertainty, but like we talked about the passion for helping people, right? And of course, if we can no longer help Texans, that doesn't mean there's not millions of other folks that we can help still that have live in states that have plenty of open and free access to hemp cannabinoids or um, legal hemp products and all that sort of thing. But like, what kind of is keeping you motivated and pushing right now?
So I mean, yeah, it's the my purpose of helping people. Honestly, it's I know, like I said, I found myself. I found what I want to do. I found who I want to be, and I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna find a way. We're gonna find a way as a company and as individuals, and we're gonna find a way to be helpful. Again, we're like I said, we're in very uncertain times. And just to go back a little bit on your point about freedom, and you know me, I'm not into politics, but now I see and following a little bit more of the political, I guess,
Yeah,
world. in Texas. And now I started following some politicians, and kind of like I was watching, of course, the House sessions and the Senate sessions, the legislative session here in Texas. And you're right. I mean, one of the politicians said, we're going to finish this session with less freedom than what we started it in January. They're taking away more of our rights. And again, I'm not political, but I know that if if you're free to do something, um, and you're not endangering anybody else, you should be able to do it.
Right.
I believe in that. You should be free to choose how you self medicate. Another politician was saying that we should not self medicate because that was not really helpful, and you should go to a treatment
Sure, in a perfect world,
get a
sure.
prescription
Yeah,
and
sure,
go
I bet
to
everyone does
get
that.
some pain medicine but
What the
we
hell?
should self medicate, especially those veterans. You know,
Well,
they give them a choice. So they give them a choice. Okay, you can go to war for us overseas, and you might die or you might make it. But when you make it back, you cannot have a choice to self medicate for the things that you experience there.
but yeah, you can self-medicate on alcohol.
Yes,
You can damn sure self-medicate on
or
prescription
prescription
drugs
drugs,
and other things that are
because
poisonous.
we
Yeah,
control that
totally.
basically. And the thing is, like, and I've talked to a lot of vets, right? And they're like, they've been on so many drugs that they don't remember what they're doing. They don't remember, they do not live, they don't have a life
That's
basically.
poison.
Yes, that's how I understand
That's how
poison.
I would understand poison, but
um
that's okay.
Now I lost my
No,
point,
but you're talking about, like, I
but
say
how do
this,
you see the future, right?
the awakening of things, how important it is, you know? So you say, like, "I'm not political and I don't keep up with it," but it's like, I do now, because if you
Yes,
don't, you let it slip, you'd be surprised how much those people got away with on the House and Senate floor this legislative session when we were watching, just worrying about him, which was a small piece of these 8-hour-long live streams. There were so many asinine bills that are actually making it through. And that's what I was saying on all my phone calls over these past few weeks with all this kind of happening to people. I was like, it's more than just hemp. There's a lot of problems that we need to solve with these people. And we need to get involved. We need to pay attention. We need to
exactly.
play the game. Everybody hates that. They hate the game. It's all this, connotation about politics. But at the end of the day, you
That's who
have to
make the
play and
rules.
be represented.
You
Yeah,
have to
you
play
have to
to,
play and
yes,
make the rules yourself and have a say so. And if you don't, that's what Gene Wu was saying when he was saying, if people get bankrupt and they are mad, should they run for office? And that's what he means.
absolutely, absolutely,
You should get yourself in there or vote for someone that's truly going to represent you so that this doesn't happen to you again in anything, whatever you choose to do. Doesn't
I
matter if
think I
it's
know a
hemp or
guy, by
cannabis
the
or
way.
anything. We will see.
I can see Colton 2026.
We will
Just
see.
calling it
I
first.
don't know, man.
Colton
I
from
got a
Texas.
hard district to win in, and I do that's
Do you
what's
know that Oliver's son is in Cypress, Texas?
yeah, but see, I'm not in Cyprus.
Yes, we're not either, but we're
But,
close. We're next door neighbors.
I would love to. It's gonna take a lot longer than what most assume, but I it's on the table.
Yes, exactly.
My team of Avengers are seeing this, and they are out there,
Yes,
and they're waiting, and, they're excited, I don't take it lightly that people see that in me. So I want also that to be on record. Like I I'm taking all of this in and I'm very
yes,
serious about it and I don't take it lightly that people see this in me. So
right.
like things are working. Things are
Yes,
working for sure.
I know, and
And I think what you're saying is true, especially you're becoming a new father. You're just, congrats on the baby, but you're
thank you.
just now, your family's growing. And a lot of times that's what happens. The youth are uninterested until some life event starts to
Something
happen.
happens,
And it's like,
exactly.
oh shit, I have control here. Let me get this back.
Right, right,
Let me vote. Let me do things. Let me get active because we can't let this happen. And
exactly.
the school stuff, they did some school stuff, some abortion stuff, some hemp
Property
stuff. I mean,
taxes.
property taxes, you
It,
name it. It's
it's
crazy.
crazy.
And all, now you have the next generation of
Yes,
Texans here that you have to worry
right.
about, and that's also heavy. And so there's so much more in this that I think keeps a lot of us motivated too. This does kind of answer the question. It's really long way around, but that does, I think, give me the power and the motivation to keep going, because there's so much more here than just me or you
Exactly.
peddling THC gummies. That's not what this is about. It's about freedoms. It's about liberties, access to
Choices.
things, choices,
Absolutely.
wellness, alternatives, all of that sort of stuff. And it goes deep. They've done a lot of harm to this state this session, and they need to not only know that. So please pick up the phone still, call the governor, call your
Get
representative,
involved. Get
get
involved is
involved,
the answer of what's
vote.
next. Yes.
Yes, holy smokes, all these young people that don't vote, or people that don't vote, they think it doesn't matter. Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
And that, if anything proves it, it's what we all have gone through here. I think we started the game a little late. The I think if
The
everyone
political game.
I think if everyone had this same motivation to get behind things back when even Lucas and Cynthia and Hometown was going through all that, and if we just had a little more, it's not our fault. Please don't come at me in the comments. It's not our fault. It's nobody's ever done this industry before, and a lot of us
Right.
don't know the game and the landscape. But again, like, we mobilized, and that's powerful, and that doesn't have to go away just because they want to ban hemp. So there's a lot that's going to, I think, happen in the future, and I damn sure am still going to be here fighting for people's access and the quality of this plant to be upheld properly. I'm sure businesses like you and people like you are going to be doing the same thing.
Yeah, and I guess to go back to your question of what's next, right? Get involved. That's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. Is we're going to get involved, and we're going to stand up first and fight to the last breath in Texas, because we want to be here. We don't want to move out of state.
No.
It's on the table. It's an option, of course, if you want to continue and if you want to help people.
And
it is
it
an
has
option.
been an option for
but we
6
don't want
years, and
to.
we didn't take it.
It
There's
is. It
easier
has been.
places or other
It's
places to make money in hemp.
Yes.
We're here.
We're here, and we want to be here, and that's the thing. We can move out of state, but we don't want to.
Right.
We want to stay right here. We want to help local people. And back to our story of how we started is we went to local stores. Like, we talked to local stores, we made friends, and they start buying our products. They like our products, and that's how we grew. Like, everything is organic. We're self-funded company. We're a family-owned company, and it was those connections, the people, and that's why we want to stay here and fight to the end of this,
Yeah.
and find a way. If there's a will, there's a way.
There's a will, there's a way.
So find a way to continue what we're doing, no matter how. Well, I'm confident that we're gonna find a way.
Yeah, I totally agree. And
But get involved. Like I said, call your governor if you're still hearing this before it's too late. Call your governor. Get involved politically. Vote.
Yes.
Vote. Remember the people and what they vote for, who is behind them, who is sponsoring their campaigns and donating, and just decide for your own fate.
Totally.
I guess.
No, 100%. And thank you for coming here and telling the story of TexaKana Organics. Again, guys, we have to
Pleasure.
start supporting small local businesses like this that care. These are your neighbors. These are your neighbors. Their kids go to the same schools as your kids. They're not a multinational conglomerate of making
MSO.
making crap products and pushing it on you for pennies on the dollar. They care about your wellness. They care about your feedback, and it's long overdue now, given the state of things, probably. But we need to start supporting these small and local businesses. That is why the Texas Growers Podcast is here, is to highlight more stories like this. I think this is the epitome of what Texas capitalism and entrepreneurship is. And again, he has an amazing list of stories and feedback and testimonies of how these products and this brand and this human being has changed tens of thousands of lives over the last few years. And that should be worth something. So thank you for joining and telling that story. We're going to continue to bring you all the news, all the latest trends, all the changes, and the best people in the industry to start partnering with over these next few years. We don't plan on going anywhere. If anything, we're just going to expand the show. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with us. Thank you, Rado.
Thank you. Thank
you
for
guys,
having me.
there's a lot more news and everything to come. We'll see how things play out. But until then, we're going strong. We'll see you on the next one.